Hello everybody, and welcome to part 2 of the Liveryman Harmony Plus horse trimmer service and repair. I'm Simon, and welcome to Outside Saddlery. Okay, part 1. I'll link it up there somewhere. Showed us stripping these out and the amount of hair that was in it, so we've cleaned them all up. You can see how tidy they all end up being. We need a few little bits and pieces that we need to do just to make it a bit better when it goes together. Otherwise, everything's ready to go. So first up, we're going to look at then this motor. It's just a completely sealed motor. There's nothing for me to look at. It feels a little bit rough when I twist it. So I'm going to give it a little clean out. So all I'm using is just an electrical contact cleaner. There's a couple of little gaps at the back here, so we'll have a little spray. In some of there's no space at the front, so we can get rid of that again. Let that do its job. Give it a little twiddle around, and I can feel that feels a little bit better already. So let's put that back down. There's a couple of bearings on these. So we've got a bearing right at the very front there with that little one. I don't know if you can see that very easy. That one there. And at the back of that there's a bearing. So let's get some oil in there. There's a little tiny one here, so I need a little drop just in there. When I say a little drop, I mean a little drop. Don't want too much, don't want oil going everywhere when you've done these. That's good. Any excess, take it off. Paper towels back to normal. There's probably another bearing at the back here. So there's one just in there. Drop in there. Give it a chance to do its thing. And get rid of any excess. So, that's that motor done. Let's get rid of that. Now, getting this back in, that's the top part. This is the piece we need. Battery's going to sit there. Motor sits on top of it. So that's going to sit this way. It's going to sit in there. Motor's going to sit there. This motor's dropped in nice. There's a couple of little lugs there that circuit board flips over. So that's all in good. Now, there's a couple of screws there. As we remember, you can probably just see them up the top there. There was a multitude of screws. So we've got to now figure out where all these screws were. So these were two, what appear to be quite long. So it's these two little black ones there. So one's going to sit in there. So all I need to do, allow it to find its own way in. There it is. I don't want to cut another thread, remember. So all of our other things we've got. What I don't want to do is make another thread. These are all like self-tappers. So originally there's a drilled hole and then the screws put in and it cuts the thread as it goes. So I want to get the same thread. I don't want to make a new one. That one's a little bit tight. Felt better. So no real pressure on this. Just round until it's almost tight. That's almost tight. Brace it. Fully tight. Brace it. Fully tight. So that bit is back together and how it should be. This would work if I turned it on. I don't want to turn it on. So we're going to put this on. Bit I'm always missing. So this piece sits at the back here. Now these always have an issue. When you come to put them in, they click in like that. Great. But if you move it, it pops up and pops out. So I've always got a habit of knocking them off. So I try and keep it in place. Allow the top to fit in. And as I just said, it pops out. So the way I tend to go, leave a little gap where I can get it in so it's in the right place. Feed that in till it lines up. Clip the whole body back together and hold it. So now if I hold it, this piece will stay here. These bits then, we had one longer screw in the middle there. So we're going to get that one in first. That one's just gone in. That a bit of a tighten. And then at the back was some different screws. That was these two. So just to confuse you, make sure you didn't know which one was which. That one's there. Another one back there. That one back there. That one's pretty tight, or not pretty tight, it's going up to tighten up. That one's going to tighten up. That one's tightening up, so I'm going to keep going there until they get properly tight. Got on the head now. That's that one. That's that one. So them clippers now are back together as such. There's no reason why it shouldn't work. And there we can see them going. So they sound a bit quieter already from what they was first time. Need a little bit of oil in there before we put all this piece on, because you can't get to it very well otherwise. So a little drop of oil just down inside there. Ooh. So again, like I said before, nothing too major. A bit of clipper oil will be fine when you put the blades on in there. That's that part in there. It's quite happy. Wait one. So this piece here, we're going to need to fit that on. So this is easy because it's got a screw in it, remembering which way it's going to go. That part there sits over that, and then either side of it is where the screw is going to go in. So in there. Now, before I put that on, we have two little washers, little tiny ones. I like to make sure I didn't lose. So there's one there. Okay, when I get bits like this, what I can't pick up, it's a bit awkward sometimes, but easy way of doing it. Get your grease out, just your multi-purpose, little dib on your finger, so I don't need loads. It doesn't matter that I'm going to put a little bit of grease in there. It's going to be a pivot anyway, so it could probably do with it. And then all I've got to do is touch it on it, and then I can pick it up. So there's one is going to go there, and the other one is going to go on the other screw, which is there. Says as he keeps knocking it off, because if you lose one of these, you bet your life I can't bite the bit. I must be paper towel there, get the grease off. So now I want to wipe that grease off. I don't want that. These two pieces then are going to go one there, one over the end. I'm glad you could see that. That went really well. One there, one there, one there. Piece over the end. Screwdriver back out. There's one there. These are brass threads, so these aren't going to go too bad, are they? I'm starting to go on in. That one's going in. So we can tighten them up a little bit. I don't think you want to miss that washer, because this is a pivot, isn't it? So it actually moves from side to side. Have a look in a minute. So it definitely needs to be there, because otherwise you'll be wearing through the plastic. But you can buy these pieces, they're not too bad. I think that bit there wears out quite a lot, especially if they're not quite in the blades. So there we go, that's something there. Now we have two other screws that are right at the back there. So these are them blooming great big long ones, because they go right through. There's one there, another one there. This is where I should really have got my electric one out. So that's going to go all the way through. Stab myself in the hand. Oh, dogs are off again. All the way through. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's like who can be the trappy one today out there? Let's brace that a minute. So that's got that one. It's got that one. Just check that. That one's tight. And that one's tight. So we have our clippers back together. So how does this go? So when this is turning, it pushes that from side to side. So see it moving there? So it pushes it from side to side, and that's what turns your blade from side to side. We have our cover. So the cover on it's designed to clip on and off so that you can clear all the hair out from here, because it gets a lot of hair in it. So if we look at these, they fit in a certain way, don't they? Nice little arrow, so it tells you how it should really slide. So there's pieces that slide into place, and they're actually, so these hooks are down low into there. So you put it on, get it lined up and just push it, clips you into place. It's as simple as that. That is your clipper sort of put together. Now, next bit we need to look at blades and the clip for it. That's all got to be put together. So these tend to fall apart. If you get them and they've fallen apart, this is the bit you press. This little hook on the end is what hooks onto that front part of the blade. So blades are going to go on there. It's going to need to sit in this position here. Now what you can't do is just put that there and screw it on, because on the back of this are two little tiny, right, where are we on that camera? Little tiny springs that are there. I don't know how easy you can see it. So just on the edge of that screwdriver, there's one there and one there. Can you see that? So them little springs got to go into the two little tiny holes that are on here. Now, if you don't do it, that's when this goes loose and your blades aren't gripping properly. Now, to get that, there are some easy ways. First thing I want to do is, so this is when it's open, I'm going to close it. And when you close it, them springs stick up a little bit more. So now, see them there? There's one there and one there. And what you need to do, get this on, get them two little tiny holes. Don't know if I'm allowed to swear too much on YouTube. Get them tiny holes so they stick through. So now we've got one spring there and one there. And we're going to push it through and clip it up underneath, and it'll clip them and hold together. When it's held together like that, now you can fit it. If you do it otherwise and break them bits of springs off, they will break. They break really easy. So they're just going to sit. Oh yeah, you just throw it at it. They just sit underneath here. The way they're done, there's little tiny brackets that keep it in place, because if this isn't quite square, then your blades aren't square. So it will sit in there. And then we've got our last two screws, so that's a good sign. There's no screws left over, which means we haven't left anything behind. So we want to get one in there. Get my screwdriver, I'm going to use a little one this time. Just give that a little twiddle. Now again, I'm not going to tighten this right up, so if I tighten it, it will twist its body around. I don't want it to do that. I'm going to go for this one. Go in there. Again, you can buy these. These are easy enough for you to do yourself. I'm going to start it until it starts to bite on the tightness. So it's just pushed it into that little bracket. I can just feel that starting to go. So you can see how light, gently I'm holding that tight. And this one is going to go the same. And that's got it. So I'm going to tighten that one up. Tighten that one up. Brace them down. Put a bit of weight on it. Tighten. Bit of weight on it. Tighten. Now the technical hitches. You can't put your blades on when it's like this, because this piece is here and it's all in the way, isn't it? And you need to open that up. And the only way you can open it up, unfortunately, let me just get the hair off of that, is to get yourself a screwdriver, wedge it under here. Once you get so far in, you can lever it, get round to the front of it and lever it up. When you've levered it up, you can then get your blades, and your blades can slot in. So we need to get some oil on these blades. There's a little rubber edge there which slides along, so that could do with some oil on it. Otherwise, you're looking at oil on these surfacing mating plates on both sides. Such, so we've got a bit of clipper oil for that. So first bit of clipper oil I'm going to do is a line down there. Then we're going to have a little line across there, and another little line across there. Don't worry if you get too much oil on these. They're not a majorly thing. You'll push it out the other side, so it's got a bit of oil on both sides. Bit on there. There's a bit on there. We can get them across, and then we can slide them over. We can get a bit of movement on it. But as you do it, you should be oiling your blades all the time. I tend to, when I've got the oil, the excess oil you've got, just rub it over them. So if your horse was a little bit damp when you first cut them, when you trimmed them, they will make your blades go rusty. If they go rusty, especially if they're rusty like this, you can ruin your blades really, because you get a little pitting on them. So putting your blades in, you need to line that gap up there with that there. So have a little look, because this isn't always in the middle, because depending on where you turn them off, see it's over slightly over one side, it's in the middle-ish, still in the middle-ish, slightly over the other side there. So what you want to do is think about, right, when I put the blades on, where are they going to be? And then just push the blades so they sort of line up with where that is. So it's about there somewhere. So this piece here is going to hook behind that. Once it's going to hook behind it, I can line it up with my eye. So I'm looking down through here and think, right, is that lined up? It's not far from it. Click it up. If it's not clicked in properly, what will happen is when you try and push on there, it won't have clipped into place and it grips it. So what you need to think about is if it's not going in, have a little look behind, think, right, I need to push that slightly that way a little bit. So don't get it and then think, right, I've got to force it, and it should just clip in place. So see there where it's now gripped it, and that won't push out. Removing them, easy enough, and it's just there. It'll click in place and do it. So if it's not going in, don't force it. You break that little plastic piece underneath. Just put them in nice and easy. Now we can see it all nice and good and working. Now, pat test for these. There'd be no pat test on that because it's not mains. It's not mains voltage. It's 15 volt, I think it was. You're not going to get killed on that, are you? The charger, yes, you'll charge it up. Make sure the cable's okay. Everything else on it. But otherwise, they're done. So, if you like the video, remember, give it that thumbs up. Subscribe to it. Check out part 1 if you didn't look how to get my part. All my other stuff on there. Check out them other channels. And give me a good thumbs up. Any questions, any comments, feel free to leave them below. And have a good day. Goodbye.